Hey guys, this is Eddie McClintock, and I am hanging with Chris Gordon on Hellblazer Biz. And if you're smart, you'll keep listening.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners, wherever you may be in the world right now. This is Hellblazer Biz with your host, me, Chris Gordon. Today's guest I have the privilege of talking to is a very well-established actor, familiar to many with us, with roles in Desperate Housewives, Friends, Bones, Warehouse 13, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Supergirl, and many, many more. This guy can now be seen kicking ass as the sociopath Jack Payne in the USA Network's TV show Shooter, based on the 2007 film of the same name. Today I am proud to present to you Mr. Eddie McClintock. Good morning, Eddie. How are you?
I'm good. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm fantastic, thank you. I really appreciate you coming on and agreeing to this, and like I've already said, for putting up with my tenacity on Twitter and your poor manager as well.
Hey, you're a stick-to-it kind of guy, and I recognize that right off the bat.
Yeah, like a dog with a bone, some people might say.
That's right, a pit bull.
Yeah. But no, I really do appreciate it. It's great to finally sort of meet you, as it were.
Yeah. Skype is a miracle, isn't it?
It is. It's fantastic. You're sitting over there, 3,000-4,000 miles away, and it's just like we're in the same room.
Naked.
Almost. Yeah. Don't get me to stand up.
Yeah, exactly. We're both naked from the waist down, but that's not weird. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. And you've got a nicer view than me by the looks of it.
Oh, thanks, man. I don't know if you can see. We've got a little pony back in the.
Oh, right now I can't see.
We've got a stable for 2 horses and a tack room back there. My wife we rescued a pony about a week ago, so we've got a new little pony, and her name is Penny Lane.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah,
in that case, on Saturday I'm going to Liverpool, so I will take a picture of Penny Lane and I will tweet it to you.
That'd be amazing. That would be awesome. My wife, and then I'll Photoshop a picture of Penny Lane on it.
Yeah, there you go, and that'll be the original Penny Lane then.
Nice.
Cool. So, as you know, I've got a few questions for you, or more than a few. We'll get through what we can. So I don't want to keep you all day.
No problem.
It'll ramble away if we want to. First question it really takes you right back, is how did you get into acting in the first place?
Ever since I was a little kid, I started, I guess, because I always wanted to make my mom laugh. Mm-hmm. So I spent a lot of time trying to make my mom laugh. I mean, I grew up playing football, and I wrestled, and I played baseball, and I did a lot of sports. And growing up in Ohio, I just no one ever pushed me in that direction. But I always loved film, and I always loved TV, and I always wondered how these people did that stuff, how they knew how to talk and walk and on screen. And I graduated from college and Ride of the Valkyries. That's our phone. Our phone ring.
Awesome.
So I graduated from college and I moved to Los Angeles to sell corporate insurance for my uncle. Mm-hmm. And he fired me after 7 months because I was pathetic and did not deserve such a good job. And, it took me some time to kind of get my life together. I got sober, which was really the most important part of it. I grew up partying harder than everybody else. I've always been that, like, a very extreme. When everybody else was laying there in a coma, I was like, "Get up! Come on, we're not done."
Yeah,
and that took a toll on relationships, and it was one of the reasons I got fired from my insurance job.
Right.
And I got sober, and I decided that I was going to start taking some acting classes. And after I started taking acting classes, a friend of mine said, "You should come in and meet with my friend. He's an agent, and maybe I can help you get some commercial work." Yeah. And I started doing commercials, and I did a couple of national beer commercials here in the States that, my car was still a jalopy. I had a jalopy, but it had a full tank of gas, and I had a crappy little apartment, but the rent was paid. I wasn't living like a star or anything, but the commercial money made it possible for me to stay in acting class and continue to work on becoming an actor. And it just I knew that if I failed at that, there was a good chance I was going to have to go back to Ohio, and I didn't want to go back to Ohio as a failure, you know. And now I've gotten to the point where I can't really look back. I'm at an age, and I'm like, what am I going to do now? I keep telling every few months I'll threaten that I'm going to quit because I get kicked in the balls by this business so often, as do most actors, I would imagine. And then the reality that I don't know what else I would do, so sets in. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I didn't know anyone. My uncle was obviously in the insurance business. He didn't know anything about Hollywood. So, and I tried to surround myself with good people and stay the path.
Oh, cool. Excellent. Well, congrats on the getting sober bit, because I know that's a huge, huge task for people.
Thanks.
So so I know that's a mountain to climb.
I tend to speak about it really freely. A lot of times it's got this negative stigma to it. It's kind of like saying, you have cancer. It's like, he's, sober. And it's just like, I'm proud of it. Frankly, I think it takes a bigger man to admit his shortcomings than to deny them. So
definitely.
And I've been able to help people that have heard me speak so openly about it. And if I can help anybody who's struggling, then I've done something worthwhile. So,
well, no, that's really admirable. And you're right. The more people do speak openly about it, the more it does help. And especially someone in your position and I'll say elevation, from a fan perspective, that is.
Thanks.
It's a good thing to pass on and see that as well.
Thanks, Chris.
No worries, you're welcome. I know I've got another question, but I'm going to go back because I know you've done wrestling, and I know obviously I've seen posts that you've made. I've researched you on the wrestling side of things. Do you still grapple at all? I mean, 2 years ago, at the age of 38, I took up pro wrestling. There's a little North Wales.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not the same kind. I know yours Olympic wrestling type, but
right.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
But I took up that for about 2 years until I had an accident, and I've basically lost the use of one of my quad muscles because I fell out the ring head first.
You fell onto your head?
No, my hands managed to stop my head, but the ropes were a bit loose. And when you do the up and over, the pro wrestling one where you do the up and over, I duck over. Yeah. I stumbled as I got back up, went through the ropes, head first, straight through the ring. But as I went down, my leg smashed obviously the plywood board underneath, and then the metal, and I've now got a dent in my leg on my thigh.
My God.
This is nearly 2 years ago now, and I've still got the dent there and a slight bruising, but the bruise is all around my basically from my groin down to my knee, all the way around. And
don't do that.
No, it's stupid. Yeah, most people don't do it. It's not very clever and it's not very big. But I've now lost my quad muscles. So question is, do you still grapple?
I grapple with my insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
No. My friends want me to get into jiu-jitsu.
All right, yeah.
But I haven't done it yet. I've been threatening to. But I stay at the gym. I try and stay fit. There's nothing worse than walking on screen and showing everybody your one pack,
Which unfortunately, that's the big bit you can't see of me. I look like Mr. Stay Puffed, unfortunately.
I try and stay fit, and I run, and it helps with my brain,
Yeah.
But as far as wrestling, I haven't. My son Jack was starting to wrestle last year, so I bought a pair of wrestling shoes, and I would go to practice with him and kind of roll around with him a little bit. I don't know. I'd like to get back into it. Maybe I could help coach, if my son decides to go back to it. He's playing flag football now. He just went from tackle. His last game, as I told you, was Saturday, and so he started flag football. So
cool.
We'll see if he gets back in.
Nice one. Sounds great. takes a lot with the wrestling. We did shoot wrestling as well, which is more of what you guys do. The proper one, you just go in and you've got to basically pin for a second and that's it. And
right.
That was probably the toughest training I've ever done, because they just put you in there for 3 minutes and, you're hell for leather, and it's, good God.
Yeah.
You
can only imagine. A college wrestling match, I think, is 3 minutes, then 2 minutes, and then 2 minutes. So 7 minutes. And you can imagine these UFC guys that are going in there for 5 minutes. It's like the conditioning that you have to put yourself through to get ready for something like that it's incredible. It's why I have so much admiration and respect for those guys, because I know what they're putting themselves through, and it's rough. It's rough.
It is. It's a very, very, very strenuous and constant effort.
Exactly.
Cool. So going back to acting again, who inspired you or inspires you still?
As far as acting is concerned?
Yeah, as far as acting is concerned.
I grew up loving the not ready for primetime players on Saturday Night Live. John Belushi, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, Gilda Radner, Jane Curtin, and Lorraine Newman, Garrett Morris. I love them. I was just a little kid, and my parents would let me stay up late on Saturdays and watch Saturday Night Live. Cool. Henry Winkler, when he was the Fonz, I used to love the Fonz growing up. Michael J. Fox, and then Robert Duvall. Yeah, I really loved Johnny Depp's early work. Leo DiCaprio. I actually started acting class with Charlize Theron.
All right, cool.
And Charlize and I were pretty good buddies there when we were in acting class together when she started out and I was starting out. And one day we were rehearsing something at her house for a class, and Leo DiCaprio just walked in and sat down and was watching us rehearse.
Oh, wow.
He had done Gilbert Grape, and I don't think he hadn't done Titanic yet, so he hadn't exploded into the stratosphere yet, but he was still, I remember going, oh my God, it's Leo DiCaprio.
Oh, hell yeah.
De Niro, Pacino, Brando. I always loved Martin Sheen. There's a lot. I know I'm when I get done, I'll be like, oh, what? I didn't say that guy. I like Samuel L. Jackson. The list goes on.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there's you've listed some brilliant minds and people there as well. De Niro and Pacino, I think, and Brando, and obviously, even Martin Sheen and Brando in the same film together. Apocalypse Now, the horror.
Oh my God. My dad took me to see Apocalypse Now in 1978, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind. I knew that I loved film, and I thought that I was like, I love film so much, maybe I should be a director. I love the art. I love the fact that you can watch someone on a screen and they can affect your emotions like that. It's pretty cool. And the greats just tear your guts out.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, yes. With keeping on Apocalypse Now as well, then it was the cinematic masterpiece. Not only the acting and the power of the acting, because the dialogue was powerful enough as it was, but it was quite scant in regards to obviously the context of the film. But those lines are immortal. The horror. I love to wake up to the smell of napalm in the morning. It's just
right.
But that coupled with that cinematic experience of that entire woodland just going up in flame with napalm, and
and that was all practical. It was all practical. There was no CGI. No CGI. And if you've ever seen the movie Hearts of Darkness, that's the documentary that is about the making of Apocalypse Now.
All right, no, I've not seen that.
It shows they truly Coppola almost lost his mind over there.
Yeah.
I think they were in the Philippines, and they shot it in the Philippines, and they were there for a